So I set up some security on my server just to be safe, and I just got an alert. I think somebody just broke into my server. I'm gonna go down to spawn and check out and see what's going on here. Who is that?
No- I was invited here, but I'm stuck in this cage.
No, I didn't invite anybody here. Why would I invite anybody here? This is a single
I'm,
player server.
I'm not even worried about the invitation. I'm worried about why I'm in a big cage.
Just in
Did you
case anybody tries to break into my server.
break in? I didn't break in.
I didn't
I was
invite
let
you.
you. You let me in.
If I invited you, I would have given you a password.
I password? I don't have a password.
You,
You didn't give me a
I
password.
would have given you a password if I invited you. So
I
what's the
don't have a
password?
password. I don't know.
All right, you can just rot in that cage then.
Wait, what?
You
You
don't have a
still need me in
password.
here?
I would have given you a password if I invited you on the server. Do you have a password? Do you know what the password is?
Is it password?
That is the password. Yes. All right. Welcome to the server.
Okay.
I think I might need a better password than that. I think he might have guessed that password. So yeah, there's a chest in here with all some equipment to get you started, just in case somebody legit actually did. It's almost as if I knew somebody was coming. So that is AstaZora. I hope you give him a warm welcome. He has created his own episode 1, and I will put a link in the description. He did have a few audio issues, but he is working on those, and hopefully he will resolve those fairly quickly. But I think he will be a really good addition to the server. Well, hello there, and welcome back. This is episode 42 of my Minecraft 1.15 Let's Play. I've been AFK overnight at my new witch farm, and I am really happy with the results. As you can see, there are no shulker boxes in any of these loaders except for the redstone one, which means that all the shulker boxes I put into all these loaders are now full. That's mostly just this glowstone one. I put 8 shulker boxes into the glowstone loader, and those are all full now, but the really important business is right over here. We've got 11 shulker boxes of redstone dust. Now, this wasn't just a single overnight. I believe I got 5 of these shulker boxes overnight, which is still pretty impressive. I expected to get about 4. My old witch farm got about a shulker box every 8 hours, and I expected this farm to be at least 4 times as fast, and it looks like we're clocking in a little bit faster than that. So as far as farms go, I mean, it's not the fastest farm in the world, and I could definitely, it'd definitely be nice if it produced redstone a little bit faster, but this is still pretty decent, and I am not going to scoff at this shulker box full of redstone blocks that I've got right here, so that's pretty awesome. I'm going to give these other 2 shulker boxes to Asta. He AFK'd a bit at this as well, so I'm going to send those off to him, and I'm probably going to give him most of this glowstone, a little bit of gunpowder. There's only 1 shulker box in there now, and he also expressed a desire for some bottles in order to set up a honey farm in the near future. So I'm going to send those off to him, and I'm going to keep these 9 shulker boxes right here. That's going to be pretty nice. Before I do all that, I noticed something I did that's a little bit inconsistent. So I set up these pipes here, and I've got the poles that run down to the ground that support these pipes to make it look a little more realistic. And then I've got this platform that's just floating in midair. And that's pretty inconsistent. I probably should have put some legs or supports for this platform as well. So I'd like to do that and maybe dress up this platform a little bit. Alright, so I set up the AFK platform as like a potion bottle here, and it's got like these glass legs that have like this subtle color gradation that goes up from purple up to white. And I think those turned out pretty well, and I'm actually really happy with this potion bottle as well. I might want to change it so that it shows up properly on a map as a potion bottle. So I've got these blocks here that I'd have to cover up with a block of the right color in order to make it look right on a map. But for now, I mean, I think this looks pretty good, and it looks pretty good from underneath as well. I think it's pretty cool looking. So we might come back here. Asta is really interested in decorating and cleaning up all this area, and he's got some ideas. This is a big build, though. It's something like 60,000 blocks, 70,000 blocks for the walls here and like 40,000 blocks for the floor. It's just a really massive, it's really easy to lose your sense of scale when you're dealing with something this big. So it would take a lot of work to clean it up, but we might have some other smaller ideas that we might want to do or something like that. So I'll probably be back here, but for now, I think this is pretty good looking. I like this. Alright, so I've made my way over to Asta's starter base here. He's been a busy little bee over the last week or so. He's got himself a house. He's got himself a couple of good boys here. He made a giant map of the area. So I believe we're right there. And then there's a village pretty close to here. It's somewhere over in that distance, I think. And then there's just tons and tons of room for him to work with. What, is that another village up there? It looks like there's another village up there. I didn't know about that. So he's got plenty of space to work with. This is off of my map, and it's off the Nether Hub. So he's got tons of room to work with here. And he's got himself a few starter farms that he's working on. And this one, I believe, is kelp. Yep. I'm swimming in it. And then these should be bamboo and sugarcane he's got going on here. Sugarcane and bamboo. And then I believe this is a cactus farm over here. Actually, I think it's just bone meal. It does not, because cactus is slow, it does not generate much bone meal, he found out. But yeah, he's got that working, and he's trying to get some villagers to breed. I wonder if he actually got this working, and I've just destroyed one of his crops. Shh, don't tell him, don't tell him. I'm actually going to fix that. So he didn't have any hose in his chest or anything like that. But he did, however, have some sticks and some iron. And he got the iron from the iron farm back at spawn. So I don't feel bad at all for taking it. And I'll just put the hoe in his chest for him. And I'm actually going to harvest all his crops for him and replant him. I'm not entirely sure what he's got going on here. I'm pretty sure these crops are supposed to go into the villagers, but I'm not sure where. So I'm just going to plop a chest down. And I'll throw them in there. I'll even include the poison potato. He might need that. Alright, so let's actually do what we came here to do, and that is to drop off all these resources for him. So I'll just probably put them right here in front of his house. And I did get a little cheap with the shulker boxes, and I crafted the items into blocks. This doesn't look like much, but it is 2 shulker boxes full of redstone. And then I did the same thing with the glowstone. And then I actually included 2 shulker boxes of glowstone dust. Just cause, and then I had another thing of gunpowder back at my base, so let's give him 2 things of gunpowder, because he'll probably need those, and then some glass bottles, and plop down a sign. Alright, so we got a nice little sign that just says, spoils from the witch farm. And then he did this thing in my base when he dropped off the gravel and sand that he did, where he plopped down 2 signs to tell me about it, and then he crafted the sign, so he had a 3rd sign, so he just plopped down the 3rd one and said he didn't want to waste it. And I said that was kind of a waste anyways, so I decided to do kind of the same thing, but a little bit different. So I just I didn't want to waste a sign, and I actually had 2 extra signs, because if you craft them, you craft them in 3s. But I didn't craft them. I actually pulled them from my my storage, so that's actually not true. I got the signs from my storage, so I had a full stack. So I probably am wasting signs. I could just have put them back in my storage, but here we are. I don't have anything more to say about it, so the rest of the signs will just be empty. A few empty signs here, except for this one. Now, I'm kind of asking for it, but I thought that'd be funny and I'd probably get a laugh out of him. So let's head on back to our base now. So back to this board here that I created in my last episode. These are all items that I would like to collect a shulker box of each of these items. So in between episodes, I rounded up a few additional items that I can now cross off the list. So I set up a filter in my regular mob farm, and now I have a shulker box full of rotten flesh. And it's pretty much completely useless, but I rounded up some string. I rounded up some arrows. I got those last 3 wither skeleton skulls, so now I have a shulker box full of wither skeleton skulls, which that's fun. And then I've got shards and crystals for prismarine, and I've got gas tears and magma cream and carrots and potatoes, which were easy enough to round off. So I'm going to cross all those off the list, and then I'm going to clean up this list a little, tighten it, and make the board a little bit smaller. When I cross items off the list, I am putting them in this chest here so that I have a record of all the items that I've collected a shulker box of. And so one thing I'm going to do here is I showed a shulker box full of iron blocks and gold blocks in the last episode. So I'm going to include those on the list too, because I'll probably expand the list at some point. And that way I don't have to include those when I expand the list, because I've already shown those on screen. And also iron nuggets can be derived from the iron blocks, so I'm going to include that as well. And then I've actually just got this one on me, so I'm going to include blocks of redstone, just because that's pretty darn cool. So we've got the list down to just 16 items, which seems pretty manageable, but some of these items on the list are a lot harder than the others. And whenever I have tasks like this, I like to start at the hardest things first. And a few of these items stand out as being the hardest, and those would be sponges, shulker shells, and diamond blocks. Now diamond blocks, that one's just going to take a lot of time. And these other two are actually going to take quite a bit of time as well. But I think I want to start with one of these, and I think because these are the most useful, I want to start with shulker shells. So there are 3 different ways I can go about getting a shulker box full of shulker shells. The first way is the perfectly legitimate way. So my last shulker run, I got about 8 stacks of shulker shells in about 8 hours. So that's about a stack per hour. So, you know, if you need 27 stacks, it'd take about 27 hours. Let's say on the high end, somewhere around 30 to 33 hours of end running. So maybe 4 8-hour runs of end runs. That's certainly very possible. It's probably close to what I've already done, but I'm not sure it's particularly very interesting. I might still go that route if you guys don't think that the way I'm going to go is legitimate, but for now, I think I'm going to go with the way that's technically cheating, but I think it's a lot more interesting. So the second option is to just cheat outright. There are plenty of ways to dupe items in the game, and I could just use a cheap duping tool or duping mechanism, you know, vanilla in-game, you know, duping mechanisms that exist. But I don't think that's particularly very interesting either. And the third option is Razeworks Shulker Shell Shulker. Now that is technically duping, but you're not duping the shulker shells. You are duping the shulkers themselves and then killing them and then cycling through them through 3 different dimensions. It's a very cool project. It's a big project, and I think it would be a lot of fun to do. And I think it's a much more interesting way to get a shulker box full of shulker shells. So I think I'm going to go with that route. Let me know what you think. Like I said, the Shulker Shell Shulker is a pretty big project. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to break it up into smaller pieces and intersperse some other projects in between it as well. But in this episode, I have 2 pieces of the project that I'd like to work on. And the first one is spawn. So that's why we're here at spawn. So what's going to happen is shulkers are going to come through the end exit portal, and they're going to come to spawn, and they're going to come to the spawn point, which is actually this glowstone block right here. And they're going to attempt to spawn here and then teleport within 10 blocks of there. So what I need to do is I need to remove this glowstone block because I don't want them to spawn here. What I want them to do is I want to place another block that's further down. So what I can do is I can put leaves here, and then they won't spawn there. They'll actually look at the block that's further down. And then around that block, I need 10 blocks of clearance in every direction so that there's nowhere for them to teleport. So I need to make a big clearing underground and put 1 block directly under this block that has 10 blocks on every side of it of air. Alright, so there we go. We got a big giant hole right under spawn. At some point I will probably come back and clean up these walls a little bit. This is pretty ugly, but I'm not going to worry about that this moment. Let's move on to the next step. So I just can't help myself. Asta is AFK over here in the corner, and I have this shulker box full of rotten flesh that I don't even want. He might actually want to trade with villagers for it, so I'm just going to fill his inventory with it. So the next step involves breaking the end exit portal so that I can set up some rails that run underneath the portal and then through it. And breaking the bedrock is actually fairly easy. I've done quite a bit of breaking bedrock in this world, but I'm not entirely sure how to break the portal blocks themselves. So I did some testing in creative, and it turns out that the same method that's used to break the bedrock will actually break the portal frames as well. So that's pretty awesome. I just need to use one method for all of these blocks. The one thing I need to be careful to do is to make sure that I save one of these bedrock blocks on each of the sides. Otherwise, I won't be able to summon the Ender Dragon again. And I probably will want to do that again at some point in the future. Now, when I do that, it will respawn the portal. So if I do this right now, it'll actually regenerate the whole portal here. So I need to be aware of that. If I want to turn the Shulker back on again, I'll need to come back and break these bedrock blocks again. So it's worth mentioning that Ray's portal has actually been moved down several blocks. Now, I did some testing in creative, and I'm pretty sure this isn't necessary. I think Ray just did it for aesthetic reasons or just because he could. But also, I'm pretty sure it's not possible in the current version of the game that once the end-exit portal has been generated, without messing with the data files of the game, I'm pretty sure there's not a way to generate it in another space. Fortunately, I'm pretty sure I don't need to for what I'm trying to do. Like I said, I tested it, and it seems like this isn't necessary. So I should be fine just leaving my portal where it is, which is good because I think I probably have to. Also, Ray destroyed quite a few blocks here of his end portal, and I don't think all of this is necessary as well. So I'm going to try and disrupt my end portal as little as possible. If I need to break extra blocks along the way, I can always come back and do that because I don't think it's going to be that hard. But I'm going to try and leave as many of the portal blocks in place as I can. Alright, so I'm back in my regular world, and I need this bedrock block here, these two right here, and then I can leave this one, but I need the full pillar gone up there. And then I think I could probably leave the pillar, but I'm not going to bother. And then I need the one portal block behind the pillar. So let's start with these three right over here. So that one's pretty easy because I know how to do this. This is Fallen Breath's method. And we got full blast armor on here. So we should be able to place TNT there. And then obsidian, TNT here, switch here. And then I need a block to stand on. And then this piston will extend. And I've got Tweakaroo. It's a mod, client-side mod. So it allows me to fast right-click. So if I hit this switch and then I spam right-click. Oops, that's not going to work. That's not going to work. Oh, that did not work because I placed a block in the wrong place. Let's try that again. All right, so I kind of want to be standing in this spot so that I can't place a piston there accidentally. So that should work. If we do this way, and then we're spam clicking. There we go. And that should have taken out that portal block right there. So that's good. So I got to get rid of the two underneath there as well. All right, so here's a different method for breaking one sideways. I've never tested this before. It should still work fine. So I need to flick this switch and then get right here. And then I think I spam click right there. There's also a good chance, it didn't send me through the portal. And there we go. Sent some pistons through the portal, but that's pretty nice. So I just need to do that same thing the rest of the way up here. So now I just have 2 blocks left. I need to remove this bedrock block right there and this portal block right there. But these ones are a little tricky because when you're removing bedrock downwards, you need to stand right next to it. And I obviously can't stand in this portal block and I can't place any blocks there. So instead, I'm going to come in from underneath. So I'm going to have to remove these 2 bedrock blocks right here. And I'm going to have to remove these 2 blocks right there. So unfortunately, I ended up having to break one more bedrock block than I wanted to. I didn't really want to have to break this one right here because it's a little bit more visible, but we can hide it. It's not going to be that big of a deal. But otherwise, I wouldn't be able to get at this switch right here. Also, I need these stairs because any jumping in this area will send me right through the portal. And also, this isn't 100% guaranteed because this explosion is probably going to send me through the portal, and there's a chance that it'll actually explode on the other side of the portal, which could be kind of bad. I'm not sure where my last bed was, but I think my chances are a little bit better if I crouch. So let's see what happens here. So we should be able to do this, and then, no, don't do that. There we go. Yeah, send me right through the portal to spawn. There's no explosion here, so that's probably a good sign. So let's head back to the end and see if that block actually got destroyed. Took me 3 tries, but I was finally able to get rid of that portal block there. So now we're ready to take down the last block here. And I think this one has less of a chance of sending me through the portal. I'm not really sure, but it could still definitely send me through the portal. I set up a bed on the other side of the ender portal this time. Yep, it still sent me through the portal. Hopefully, let's go see if it worked. And it did, so we're all set up here. So this portal's ready to go. So I had another project that I wanted to work on, but I've run out of time for this episode. So I will start that at the beginning of the next episode, and then we'll spend some more time working on this Shulker farm as well. And until then, I want to thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I hope you have a good one. Bye.